1, 2, 3, go.
Jennifer Hardy, har.
Believe it or not,
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Show.
the Lawyer Dana podcast.
Wow, we have a lot to talk about.
And we're going to do it right after this.
Welcome to the Lawyer Dana Podcast.
So yesterday,
Should we say welcome back?
well, we can. We'll cold open this one. But yesterday, I had a meeting and everything scheduled for the entire afternoon.
his whole day
And at
was
1 o'clock, we get a call. I have a temporary order hearing at 2 o'clock,
I need
and I need a lawyer. Can you do it? Yes. And actually, it was more of a absolutely I can. Why? Because if there's anybody that can go in and win a hearing with zero preparation, not that I do this. No, the way that you win a hearing is you be perfectly prepared. In fact, the best way to avoid court is to be perfectly prepared for court. But if you get hired at the very last minute, you're not to blame for anything. You're not to blame for having no evidence, nothing prepared, none of that stuff. Still went in and killed it. Achieved absolutely everything and got our client's kids back for her. She hasn't seen in 5 months that day. Massive, massive success. And such a success that we have likely completely destroyed the other side out of the case, which is what it should be.
Our
and
client has had a pretty rough situation.
Oh, I wish I could share it. I probably will have her as a guest on the show, and we'll have to have her written permission to say what it was. But it's likely that the other side is going to be paying our attorney's fees, and they should be. But it comes down to it. When you have to go to court, court is lawyer Disney World. I love going to court, but it's torture. It's a sadistic experience. It's horrible for the clients.
It's not Disney World for the client.
No, it's not.
No.
It's
Stressful.
it's Disney in hell. You know, like it is. It's hell. It's horrible. So I have to do everything possible in order to avoid and not go to court. Which, by the way, that actually was what happened. We didn't wind up having the hearing. We talked with the judge, and everything went exactly my way of exactly what I was supposed to. And the other attorney is withdrawing from the case. I got the other attorney kicked out of the case immediately from it. It's crazy. I wish I could share more, but anyway. So that's Lawyer Disneyland. But this is the Lawyer Dana podcast, and welcome to another
welcome
episode. We have
Lanny and Helen Bassham.
Exactly.
And we're excited to have them back on the show.
And
back with
so
us.
Helen is the reason that Lanny was able to win a silver and a gold Olympic medal.
That's right.
And I think it's I don't see how you could have done it without Helen.
Well,
I mean, maybe you would have, but you probably wouldn't have wanted to. Who knows? Actually, no, I know.
I don't see how I could possibly have done it. I mean, there are some turning points in an athlete's career where if somebody is not there at that time, they are going to go in another direction.
Yep.
And it's even more sensitive the higher the goal. I mean, when you get up to Olympic gold medal area, you're talking about decisions that require a lot of sacrifice, financial sacrifice, the time sacrifice. If you don't have a supportive spouse, you are eliminated from even the possibility. That's why so many of these sports are won by kids, because they don't have any responsibilities. They don't have mom and dad are picking up the tab, and they're very, very young, and they don't have kids at home. They're not thinking about all that, and they've got nothing to distract them from being able to do something that's really, really big. Now, when you get into certain sports where, although our sport, Olympic rifle shooting, back when I was shooting, we didn't have any shooters winning gold medals in their collegiate years. That has happened recently, but most of the time, I was actually considered to be one of the youngest world champions to win my event. But so people were having to win after they've probably got established families, and that really eliminates a lot of folks to be able to reach that level. If you're not married, there's a little bit of an advantage there. Okay, nobody's waiting at home for you to come back and hey, I'm doing your part and my part and your part too, and you're gone all the time. You don't have somebody to worry about at home. But most of the world champions that I know and I competed against all had spouses, and the ones that were not able to handle it eliminated their husbands or their wives from even competing. And I see that happen on the PGA Tour. I see it happen on the Olympic athletes that we work with. And sometimes it ends in divorce and the athlete keeps on going, which is a terrible thing. But in our case, well, we made it. So
That's awesome.
Looks like we made it. We need a little Barry Manilow in the background. So
Lanny, what do you think about some of these sports that come about? Like, I just saw recently that tag is now a sport. Have you seen this?
there's an old Norm Macdonald joke. He did it in one of his very first comedy routines. He goes, so there's these new Olympic sports that are always trying to combine two things. Like you're going to run a 100-mile marathon and then fish. That sounds like tag. Have you watched tag? I saw that. I was sitting having breakfast or something, and it was on the screen, and I actually found it pretty fascinating.
No, it is.
It looks
fascinating.
crazy to me.
I watched it, and it's like they're like running through all these obstacles
Tag,
too.
you're it.
But
Let me play it now.
And I guess they're timing it or whatever. But I was just like, I was blown away. I was like, now a child game is a sport. I mean,
well, one of the things that people don't realize is that every time they add a sport in the Olympics, they normally take two out.
Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
What have they taken out?
Well, I'll tell you what, they take shooting events out.
Oh, that's not good.
Okay, so in one of the reasons why I got interested in Olympic shooting was because of the 300-meter free rifle event. Is when I entered a competition, the 300-meter Olympic 300-meter event. Now, 300 meters is a long way it's like 3 football fields end to end with end zones.
Wow.
And the 10 ring is about the size of a teacup at 300 meters.
Wow.
And you're not allowed to use a scope.
Wow.
You have to use iron sights.
I assumed that was
iron
a
sights. You shoot 40 shots.
Iron
40
sights.
standing, 40,
Wow.
40 standing, 40 kneeling, and it's the premier rifle event in the world.
So for the viewers, tell them what iron sights are.
Well, iron sights, no scope, so you're looking through a hole in a rear sight, and you're centering the bullseye, which looks to you like a dot down there, 300 meters away, and you're trying to center that bullseye in your front sight. And you've got a little ring in your front sight. It's about this big, and it's got a ring, and you want to center the bullseye in that ring and pull the trigger and not move the rifle. And if you've read the wind correctly, theoretically you should get a 10. Well, that's that's not easy to do, but that's what you're trying to do. It's kind of a head shot, heart shot, 300 meter, 3 football fields away. And obviously, we don't use weapons. We use rifles, Olympic rifles. Nobody would ever use an Olympic rifle in combat or to take somebody out. But it's the top of the level for shooting. Okay, so I win the World Championships in that event in 1974. And I did it in Switzerland. And the reason why that was so important to me is that Switzerland is kind of like the epicenter of 300-meter shooting in the world. And there are more 300-meter ranges in Switzerland than any other country in the world. I mean, they have at least 400 300-meter Olympic ranges in Switzerland. A little bitty country, but
apparently it's entirely just 300-meter ranges.
It's very popular there.
You've got a 300-meter range. You've got a 300-meter range.
Right. But
it's the Oprah Winfrey of 300-meter ranges.
We have one in the United States.
One?
Yeah, it's at Fort Benning.
Oh, wow.
So, but then what I'm getting at is that I win the World Championships. We have the World Championships every 4 years in my sport. So I win the World Championships in 1974, and then there's another World Championships in 1978. Well, between the time I won and the next World Championships, where I can win the World Championships again or win the Olympics 2 years later in 1976, they decided to add another Olympic sport and take 300 meters out of the Olympics. The premier event in rifle shooting, they took it out. They didn't ask me. They didn't ask any of the shooters. We want to take this out. Okay,
it seems like they should just add and keep it going.
That happened again this last Olympics in Tokyo. And what happened there was even worse. At one point, and not too many years ago, it may still be true, there were more countries competing in, we have a prone event at 50 meters, a prone, 60-shot prone 50 meters event. And there are more countries competing in that one Olympic event than any other Olympic event that wasn't track. And so it's one of the top 3 most popular events, and so you have hundreds of thousands of athletes, and they decided, we're going to take that out.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to add a girl-boy team event in air rifle and take something that's been in the Olympics since 1896, and we're going to take it out. And
just in time
so
for you.
What about all of those other athletes that were training for years to possibly go to the Olympics? They just don't.
So what did they take out in order to add tag?
What's sad is that we already have women's air rifle. We already have men's air rifle. But they wanted a tandem event because somebody at the IOC thinks that we absolutely, for every man event, we have to have a woman event. You know, we have gender equity. We've got to do that. And back when I was shooting, men and women competed together in shooting. There's absolutely no reason why no physical reason why a woman can't shoot just as well as a man. As a matter of fact, in my Olympics, Margaret Murdoch tied me. She won the silver medal, I won the gold medal, but we tied in the Olympics. So, but it was after that happened. They split the events out.
Can you tell? So you don't know this, I know. I bet you do. I'm 100% sure you do. Can you tell us about the controversy that? Oh yeah. Have y'all figured out Helen knows it?
I was there.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So in 1976, Montreal Olympics. Prior to that Olympics, no woman had ever competed in Olympic rifle shooting. But we had a superstar. We had Margaret Murdoch. Now, she'd compete in the World Championships, but she'd never made an Olympic team. In my sport, only 2 people per country can make an Olympic team. So you're limited to 2 entrants. We have the tryouts. I win the tryout. Margaret Murdoch was second. So she's going to the Olympics, the only woman ever to compete in the Olympics. Now, she is really good, okay? And the world knows about it, about her. And so the way, back in those days, we were shooting on paper targets. They were in a box, target box, and the entire 50-meter bullseye is about this big, and the 10 ring's about the size of an eraser on a pencil. But there's the paper that the bullseye fits on is about like that square, and they're fan filled through a kind of like the old printers that you guys have fan filled paper.
Oh yeah.
Well, fan fed. Well, that's the way we did it. You load all this targets, and we're going to shoot 1 shot per target. Well, when you're shooting 40 shots prone, 40 standing, 40 kneeling, and there's 60 shooters on the line, you got to get all those targets graded 1 shot at a time by a 3-person jury. So the way that they did it in those days is you would divide the range up into 20 points, and you'd have a 3-person jury grade the first 20, and you had another 3-person jury grade the second 20, another 3-person jury grade the third 20, and then their scores would all go up into those would be unofficial scores, and they would go up, and they'd take the top 10 people that had the best top 10 scores, and they would be graded by another 3-person deal, just to make sure that some group was not more liberal or strict on the grading. So and to be able to award the medals, only after the top jury had seen the top 10 were the results official. Okay, but we had the Olympics in Montreal. Montreal is not known to have had a lot of experience in hosting international rifle matches. This would never have happened in Switzerland or the United States or France or Russia or any place where they hold a lot of tournaments. But we're in Quebec, and they don't hold a lot. And although they were supposed to have a lot of help, they took the scores that were that were done by the unofficial scores, and they posted them on the leaderboard. Well, there's possible, even if you have a 3-person jury, that it's possible that somebody could actually have a 10 on the target, but when they transcribe over to the scorecard, they write a 9 or make a mistake. That's possible. So there is a method by which you can protest a score, and they go back and then they regrade the targets, and that primary jury regrades the targets. Okay, so I'm shooting. And Helen is behind me with 2 guys sitting next to her. One of them is an Olympic gold medal rifle shooter. The other one's an Olympic gold medal archer. And they've got their scopes. And she's watching me shoot every shot. And they're watching me shoot every shot. Well, on my third 10-shot string kneeling, I shoot 100. And there were no close shots. So there's no question that score was 100. Well, when they put the scores up on the scoreboard, that 10-shot string was scored a 99. Well, there's a mistake. Mm-hmm. And we knew it was a mistake. I knew it was a mistake. But when they totaled all the scores up, Margaret Murdoch, the only woman in the competition, has 1162, and Lanny Bassham has 1161. And the reporters go nuts. This was women's lib was hot during that time. You know, women's got to do everything a guy's got to do. You know, and so So this was the story that they wanted, and they rushed away. They rushed around Margaret when those scores went up. Oh, she's you're the world champion, you're Olympic champion, and there's no way in the world they had that those were final scores. Well, anyway, she tries to tell them. She says, that's unofficial, and she knew that I had a mistake. And back in those days, the way they broke the tie was a really bad way to do it. We all hated it. Is they broke the ties by the order of the last 10 shots. So the last 10 shots fired, my last 10 shots were higher than her last 10 shots. Now that's a heck of a bad way to break a tie. But all of us had gained and lost tournaments and medals based on that bad way to break a tie. Right. But if I pick up that point, I'm tied with her. We both have 1162. My last 10 shots are better than hers. I win the gold medal. She wins the silver medal. So all of the media had the story they wanted. Women wins the gold medal and everything, and they head back to write their stories. So we're waiting for the final results, and finally, what did we wait like?
Hours.
4 or 5 hours. The only people at the scoreboard when the final results came out were Margaret Murdoch, her sister Marie, Helen, and my father, and me. That's it. And that's when I found out that I was an Olympic gold medalist. Not taking a lap around the stadium with everybody going nuts, not having people come up to you and congratulating you. And I looked at Margaret and my heart broke for her, because she shot the same score I shot. And she's going to go home with a silver medal. Now, a silver medal is not a gold medal. It's not, and I'll tell you one big reason why it's not, is that if you have a silver medalist in the Olympics, and I had one for 4 years, when people come up to you, they say, "Oh, you were in the Olympics?" And I said, "Yeah." "Did you win anything?" "Yeah, I won a silver medal."
Who won the gold?
"Oh, who won the gold?"
Every time.
It's the best you can possibly get in the world and still lose. And she tied me, and she didn't win. That's criminal. That's not right.
Yeah, that is.
It's not right.
That's not right.
It's not right.
So I told my team manager. I says, we need to get her a duplicate medal. And the award ceremony was the next day, and so. We went to the USOC, and they were easy to find, and they were all for it. Sure, another gold medal for the United States. They'll approve that. They say you got to go to the IOC, the International Olympic Committee. So we go to the International Olympic Committee, and they say, well, if you can get the national governing body or the International Governing Body for Shooting Sports, the ISSF, or at that time it was ISU, if you get them to approve it. We have extra medals, so we would agree to that. Mm-hmm. So all we have to do is go get the head of the International Shooting Union to agree to it. And we went in there, and a German fella, and he says, "Not no, but hell no. Last thing we need is another American gold medalist." I mean, because we had taken I forgot that the bronze medalist and in my event was German, and the bronze medalist in 1972 was German, and we pretty much had taken their medals out.
If two golds, then the next one gets a silver, or does the bronze stay the same, or does bronze move up to silver?
It wouldn't have made any difference to the size of the medal, but they didn't.
He had the
power to deny it. And he executed the power to do it. And so,
you remember his name?
So basically,
who that was?
Do what?
Remember who that was?
No.
Oh, it's probably better that you know.
No. But
Podcast suddenly gets sued by some dude out of Germany.
no.
I did not. It's libel.
Oh, well, I'm so old that almost everybody that was there at the time that had anything to do with it are probably deceased.
Yeah.
So, or just hold this broadcast for another 10 years. But what happened was that we couldn't get her a gold medal. I'm still trying to get her a gold. If anybody can make that happen,
Let's make it happen, everybody.
The record books need to be changed.
The record books do need to be changed.
Before she dies, never really has it.
So did she get just the silver medal?
Oh yeah. Well, the next day, and what was really interesting is that shooting doesn't really at our award ceremonies doesn't really attract a lot of Canadian spectators for the shooting because shooting's not all that popular in Canada. As a matter of fact, Canada does a great job on Winter Olympics, but Montreal, personally, I don't think was quite big enough to be able to host Summer Games, but they do a great job for Winter Games. And most of the sports that they deal with in Canada, the Canadians are fans of, are winter sports like hockey and things like that. So we normally didn't have. We had a award ceremony, the 3-tiered platform, and get the awards. And there's not a whole lot of people come out for those award ceremonies for shooting sports. Well, one of the reporters from one of the news agencies had actually written an article that said that at the award ceremony next day, Lanny Bassham is going to refuse his Olympic gold medal. Now, I never said that.
Let's not go too far here.
But
He did win the gold.
He wrote an article, and that went out over the wire. And so the next day, we go to the award ceremony, and you wouldn't believe how many people were there. I mean, the satellite hookups and trailers out
You went from the
there.
5 people the night before.
I mean, the whole world was watching, and ABC Sports at that time, it was ABC Sports, I think, ABC Sports, or maybe NBC. And they were out there too. They wanted to see what I was going to do, And so I talked to Margaret before the award ceremony, and I told her, I said, I just feel terrible about this, and you deserve a gold medal in the Olympics, but you ain't getting mine, So just to understand, I'm going home with this gold medal, but I can't get you a gold medal. But what I can do is they play the national anthem for the Olympic gold medalists. And so on the first note of the national anthem, would you step up on the top platform with me, and we'll play the national anthem together. We'll stand for the national anthem together. And so that's what happened. So we stood together while the national anthem was being played. And that story went out all over the airways, and Bud Greenspan, when he wrote his book, famous book, 100 Greatest Moments in Olympic History, we made one of those moments.
Oh,
so
Nice.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really nice.
So that got
Bravo.
Got an article in Sports Illustrated. I didn't get on David Letterman or anything like that, but it was good. It was good.
Dave.
It was good public relations for the shooting sports, and it changed everything. The very next time that the Olympic Committee met and the the ISSF met, they changed the tryout procedure. I mean, they changed the tie-breaking procedure. They added women's sports to the program, which meant that I didn't have to shoot against Margaret Murdoch anymore, which was really good.
Yes.
And it has really helped the United States because our girls are really strong. And our women shotgun shooters are really strong. We have more depth in our ladies over the years than you might expect. There's a lot more men shooting our shooting sports than there are women, but our women are
Really good.
They're really good.
Women are great in shooting sports.
So what year was that when?
Do what?
What year was it?
This was 1976.
Oh, this was the nice.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That was
That was the year.
the goal.
I was just trying to put two and two together. I was like, did he win another one? And I missed it somewhere. So no, that's awesome.
How many
I
world
get why you
championships
weren't
have you won?
wanting
Yeah, right? I mean,
you've been striving for that. So.
I like the way that you did that.
But I do
That was really good.
appreciate you trying to go to bat for her.
Yeah, it's
big deal.
It's a great story in a way because she changed the sport, and she was broke the ceiling, the glass ceiling, and then Title IX came in, and NCAA started saying you have to give as many scholarships for women as you do for men. And of course, every college almost every college in America has a football program. So you don't have women's football, so you need to find other sports. So a lot of colleges have added women's rifle to their program. So that's one of the reasons why our women are so strong.
Maybe I should get my 6-year-old to learn how to shoot again.
I started when I was 7. Started with a rifle when I was 7. I don't remember if I shot a handgun or not. And it was a number of, and it was with a 22. It was a number of years before I ever shot even a 38 or a 45. I think I was well into my adulthood before I actually shot a 38 or a 45.
Well, thank you for joining us today. We're really glad that y'all came on.
My pleasure.
And we appreciate it.
And we'll see you on the next episode.
Subscribe to our page. Continue watching. We have a lot more guests coming our direction. So, yes.
Bye.
Bye.
The Lawyer Dana Podcast.